Welcome to the REI Hacker Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of real estate success. Join us as we dive into the journeys of top investors, mentors, and industry experts. And now, let's hand it off to our host, Benson Juarez.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on this edition of the REI Hacker Podcast. I'm really excited for my next guest. My friend Carly Grundmann is with us. Carly's a full-time real estate entrepreneur with over a decade of experience. She's a creative finance expert and currently plays a pivotal role in the Sub 2 and Gator method communities. She's also the co-founder of Opal Equity, a real estate investment fund specializing in multifamily properties. Carly, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming and chatting and having some fun.
Thank you. What an introduction. I felt honored. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Well, I had to shorten it, really. I had to, there was so much more that I wanted to add in there.
So much.
We'll get into it, but
yeah,
you've been super busy. Like we met probably about 3 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Since we started the Elephant Challenge.
Yes.
And we really were kind of on the back end and, organizing and getting everything set up and then dealing with all the madness of the Elephant Challenge, which was a blast and such a blessing to Privy and to myself. And it really kind of launched me into the Sub 2 community as a, somebody who was an influencer of sorts and had some education and something to bring value to the community. But since then, like you've had your hands in all kinds of things, all kinds of exciting things.
I have.
What have you been working on?
Everything. So, you did mention Opal Equity. I'm a co-founder of Opal Equity, where we are getting into the multifamily space and we're raising capital for multifamily. And one of our goals for this year is to do a 501(c)(3). No, I get them all confused. It's the non-accredited investor fund.
501(c)(b).
Thank you. I get that and the other tax one. What's it called? Nonprofit number confused. So the 501(c)(b), I can't even talk. We're doing one of those next year. I'm also, when I first got into Sub 2, I was telling Pace, I was like, what are your dreams? And I'm like, I want to own RV parks and I want to own RVs and I want to get them creatively. And my goal is to get a Sprinter van, like a Winnebago Sprinter van, and get it creatively. And so I got one. And then I kind of came to be the RV Sub 2 girl. And so now I am just launching probably in a couple months here, something called Wheel Estate, where it shows you how to get a creative RV, but then it shows you how to run the business and how to make money by renting it out on platforms like the Airbnb of RVs. So what else? Buying stuff, wholesaling, selling, doing it all.
Yeah.
So, very blessed.
Well, the cool thing about being able to do it all is like, the back end, right? Your exit strategies and you've perfected those. And at this point, it's just kind of like lead gen, like
it is
talking to people, building a community, helping people. I know that's one of the things that you spend a lot of time on is, you spend office hours and you're out in the community and you're building a network and now people know, like, and trust you. And that leads to them wanting to do business with you.
Yeah. I want to do business with everyone.
It's such a natural progression. And maybe that's not where you ever wanted it to go because you just like to help and you like to build community. But now all those people trust you and they want to make money with Carly.
I know. And I want to make money with everyone. I never thought I never wanted to be a wholesaler. I'm like, I don't want to be a wholesaler. But then things kept coming. I'm like, yeah, I can help you put it together and find you a buyer for it. And then more things kept coming. And then Pace did the No One Left Behind challenge. I just closed a deal, a 2.8% rate. That's what I was just doing right now in Hawaii, Honolulu, if you want one. Can't short term it though, but No One Left Behind challenge. It's an honor to help people because I needed that when I got started. And it's, the more you do things, the more you learn and you take to the next step. And I'm honored to be able to help people that want to learn and get their first deal done. Hopefully they don't even need me anymore and they can just be wheeling and dealing themselves. So
yeah, that's the kind of the premise behind the elephant challenge, right? It was like little baby
Right.
elephant, right? And then you help them up and then eventually you release them into the wild. Um,
Exactly.
but you were kind of a baby elephant at one point in your life when your parents were building and flipping houses, right?
Yes, they were. Yep. So I grew up watching my parents buy and flip houses. I mean, it was just like more of a project from them. It wasn't their whole job. It was just like after work, let's go take a look at the flips. And they were building stuff. And so it was kind of a natural progression for me. It's just what I grew up with. I haven't flipped. I don't think I will flip. I never say never, but I grew up in an entrepreneurial lifestyle and watching people make money from real estate. So it was kind of easy,
That's a
natural.
gift,
It
really, because I
really
came
is.
from a background where my dad was a cop for 33 years. My mom was a banker. So there
Mhm.
was no entrepreneurial things going on in my life at all. I don't know how I ended up here.
Yeah.
It's a
How did you?
miracle
That's
that I did.
amazing. And now you own a big software company.
Yeah, and I love doing real estate investing and being an entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever work for anybody ever again.
Isn't that nice?
But again, never say never. You never know what will happen.
True.
But you went from kind of that early entrepreneurial exposure with your family to
Mhm.
then getting into marketing and communications. Like, did you go to school for that? Was that
Yeah,
what you
you've
studied?
done your research. I don't think I've told you any of this. I think yeah, I did. I went to school for marketing at the University of Idaho, and my parents are car dealers. So my dad is a rag to riches story. He grew up with divorced parents in the 50s, which was very uncommon, and to have a divorced family back then and the mom working and bringing in money. And so they're very much pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And like, so I have that. And my dad was very conscious of not, he did well, but he didn't spoil us. He's like, you have to work for things. I'm not going to hand you anything. So, and then went to school for marketing, ended up coming back to school to work with my dad. Well, yeah, I did. And then I went up and worked in politics in Alaska. Don't ever want to do that again, but it was a great experience.
Mm.
And then went back and worked for my dad. And I thought, you know what? I want to make my own money. I want to build my own empire. I don't want to work for anyone really. And here I am. So worked in
So you
marketing for a
skipped
while.
over the politics thing. I mean, we
Yeah.
just went through a big election. Did you get into the weeds with the election, or
I try not to. I mean,
did you just,
it gets so polarizing these days.
it
Like
does.
I love a good debate. I don't have I'm not like, I'm staunch on this. I just like hearing other people's point of view, but it's tough to have debate without it getting emotional. So I try to stay away from it because I'm a very middle down the road person. So I did get into it. It got me heated sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's
Now that it's
interesting to
over,
watch it
what
after
was
being
your
in it.
role in politics in Alaska?
I was the assistant to the press secretary in the Alaska state legislature. So we worked for the Senate majority and all this, there was like 16 senators, and we worked with the media. We wrote the articles, we gave them the information, we made info. We were just like their main source for all the news from the senators. So chief of staff worked with us, and then we were the public facing to the news, to the pressers and everything. So it was fun.
It's a lot of logistics, problem solving, a lot of
Yeah.
project management.
Press releases.
Yeah, which puts you into a really good position to be able to work with pace,
Yeah.
right? Which is
It
a
really
whole
is.
thing in itself, right? Like, I love pace, right?
Yeah.
But we know there's challenges in working with him because of how he operates.
And he's
And
such at
not
a high
anybody would be able to,
level.
to do that position.
It's very fast paced, and like
Mm-hmm.
that's how working in politics were. It's like go, go, go. You have to get it done. There's no like, I don't know what I should do. Like there's no
Yeah, you don't pull out
hesitation.
the SOPs.
You
You're
don't
like,
pull out the
what?
SOPs in the middle, because when we were in the elephant challenge at that time, it was just me and Pace running it. And then that I'd be like, Benson, we're surprised, we would get surprised. He'd be like, we're doing the multifamily challenge or something. And then he'd open it up and like, we're not even doing that, so it's a very much of a pivot thing, which I appreciate because
Oh yeah.
I love a good challenge and I love staying on my toes and I love trying to like forward think and be like, what are the problems that could happen? What can we do to solve them? Make it great for everyone. So
Yeah. But also be able to operate under pressure.
yes.
And
Yes.
that is a difficult thing to do without practice. Like if you just get thrown into a problematic situation and you don't have experience dealing with the stress and all the different things and moving quickly, and it could be a challenge. A lot of people just give up.
Or
Um, I
freeze.
don't I don't know. I just read an article about Gen Z people, how like 98% of them are saying that they're overworked and that,
Oh my
they're
God, I know.
7 out of 10, or they're being fired by their employers because they just don't know how to operate, and they're unprofessional, and there's so many people that just can't do it these days. But
I know.
I
It's wild.
mean, it's a weird place to be in as an entrepreneur, and a lot of these people are trying to be entrepreneurs. I mean, they can't even work for other people, let alone go work for themselves.
No, but I read this quote the other day. It's like, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. So I quit my 40-hour a week job of working for someone else to work 150 hours a week for myself. And it's like, it's so true. Don't you think? Like, you're not clocking in at 8 and out at 5 and not worrying about everything and getting paid vacations. Like, you are on it all the time. Like, you are the boss and the employee.
Right.
So
And that's if you're passionate enough to do the work, which most of them aren't. They
no,
give up because they figure out it's too hard. And then the ones that do have what it takes to put in the long hours and, overcome adversity and all the financial challenges, they push, and then they realize, yeah, it's no easy ticket. Like it takes a lot of
not.
work.
Yeah. And you have to be really driven and really passionate, like you said about that. It's not for the Gen Z or whatever they
Yeah.
are, the weak at all. It's
Well, that's why like
separation.
94% of businesses fail within the first few years,
I've
is
heard that.
because it's so challenging.
It
I was
is tough.
watching, what's that woman's name? Cody
Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Yes.
She
I
pops
love
up in
her.
my feed all the time, my
Mm-hmm.
TikTok feed. And it was just yesterday. And somebody was asking her if she thought the real estate was um a business. And she's like, no, I don't think it is. I think that real estate is it's a great place for like tax write-offs and wealth
Mm-hmm.
preservation. But she said that the better way to do is to go create a business, because there's less risk in business. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, okay, I've met this person and, you know, face to face, and I respect her. And I was like, I just disagree.
I
I
was
don't
going to say,
see
I
that
disagree
being
too.
easier at all.
I think it's just different. I think it's different, but I think maybe you're borrowing money and it's calculated risk. Maybe you're borrowing money to build this business of yours and you're taking, that's a huge risk. Like if you had to borrow a bunch of money to build a privy and then you got to pay them back, or, it's a big risk if it doesn't succeed. I feel like, and well, I guess that's business, but it's also in real estate, you're borrowing money on
Right.
calculated risk. And
And she was
it's,
only talking about the cash flow too. She's like, okay, the average investment's like 400 grand. And then the average house cash flowed like $160 a month. And she's like, that's not great. And then you have this asset. And she didn't talk about the other things like appreciation,
yeah,
depreciation, mortgage pay down, which pays are big advocates of, because those are the
taxes.
four main revenue sources in real estate that she didn't even touch on. So I don't know. It really like struck a nerve with me. I wanted to ask your opinion on it.
I would love to see a debate between her and Pace on that, because let's look at real estate and multifamily. There's so many little businesses within multifamily or RV parks. You have a laundromat because there's a little business there. Her first business was a laundromat. There's a little general store maybe where you can go buy, I don't know, candy bars or popcorn or sodas. There's vending machines. I saw one person, was it Michelle? I don't know who it was. They said that they have an ice machine at their RV park and it makes $100,000 a year just for ice, which
Oh
is
my
wild that they're
God.
charging for ice. But go for it, and then you have like some people have self-storage on those RV parks to put their stuff. Another have those little Airbnb cabins that if people don't have an RV, so I beg to differ on those like multifamily and RV park type things. There's a
Yeah, because there's
lot of
multiple
little business.
sources of revenue outside of just what you can rent or lease.
Yeah.
room out or a house out for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's why
just,
RV parks are so interesting.
they
When we
are.
went to the um, community challenge, what was it called?
You can't.
Community camp.
Yes.
And we went and in person saw that RV park. At first I was thinking, oh, I'm not, this is like, what, who cares about RV parks, right? I already had this
Wah, wah.
preconceived notion in my brain about it. And I kind of went in there like, all right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really intrigued by it. Like, you get to
Yeah.
see the way it's set up, and then you see all that there's multiple sources of revenue. And, you know, depending upon, and like any other real estate, you're trying to get a deal, right? So you have to negotiate a price that makes sense, but you're not just looking at cash flow, you're looking at all the different aspects of it. Have you evaluated an RV park yet?
Yeah. And you have to look at the operator, you have to look at maintenance and landscaping. It's the same thing as a business. Like whether you a cashier, you have the same quote unquote employees as you would in a business, but with just different income, revenue streams. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Uh,
do you have ownership in an RV park yet?
Not yet.
Working
Not
on it.
yet. That's the key.
But you've
So,
evaluated a handful and just didn't find the right fit.
yeah, I haven't. Well, there's so many in like Texas and Oklahoma, and I am particular. And growing up, this is kind of where the RV stuff came from. Growing up, my mom took us in motorhomes and trailers, and we'd go to the national parks, like in California. We lived in Utah, so we'd go down to like Bryce and Arches and stuff. So we grew up going to these national parks in the West Coast. And I think those are the most exciting places to own an RV park. Just like how Pace has one right outside of Glacier. There's so many people that have them in like West Texas. And I'm like, this is nothing
What's there
wrong
to
with it.
see? What's
But
there to
it's
see?
just, that doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
Who's going there? So,
But people are, right? People are
people
going
go
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
People do go. Yes. People go there. They're just not exciting. I'm not the buyer for that.
Yeah.
So
you're looking more in the West Coast, Northwest for
yes,
an RV park type place that
West Coast, close to a national park.
has some nostalgia for you.
And it has, and people are always going to go to national parks,
Right.
So
you're gonna pay a premium for those if you can get your hands on them.
They're highly competitive. So it's not like they just go on rvparkforsale.com and you can just snag one. So,
Right.
Yeah. But we've looked at some one day.
Are you doing anything like lead gen wise with that, like pulling lists or trying to find a way to get to these owners and see if they're, they got a problem you can solve for them?
But I know a guy that is. And so I'm like, hey, keep me out for that. So like right now I'm really working on building out where I help newbies. It's called Building an Empire, and it helps others build out an empire. So I'll bring leads to them, and it also has the real estate thing. So I'm really focusing on that this year of like launching that and getting that going. And then it'll probably be next year that I start going all in on the RV parks. Who knows? Maybe our fund will be for an RV park that we're going to do, our non-accredited fund this year. So,
well, tell me more, because I was looking at buildinganempire.io earlier.
Yes.
And it's such a cool designed site, real, hip and neat, and it's interactive, and it's got your smiling face on it, which helps. At first, I saw the girl that came up first. I'm like, who's that chick?
I know, right? Like, who's that? Carly? I was like, she looks fun.
It's stock photos, something.
It is a stock photo. I hate my picture. I hate being out there. I hate putting my picture out there. And it's something that I've been working on in the last 2 years since meeting Pace and the Elephant Challenge is like putting my face out there, doing this. I started a podcast just so I would put myself out there and like talk and get out there. But yeah,
I don't know why. You're gorgeous. You should never think that.
I know. We all have our own like BS stuff that we have to, our limiting beliefs that we all have to break through. Yeah. So that's definitely has been one of mine, but I'm just
starting the podcast is a good step toward it. How's that going?
It's good. It was good. I started with a partner a while ago, and then she ended up she does multifamily in Canada, and she wanted to focus on that. So we stopped for a while, and I just pulled it back up. So I'll have to have you on one of these days to talk to you about your story.
Well, that's how we originally planned it. You're like, I asked you if you'd be on mine. And you said only if you'll be on mine.
Oh, that's right. And we planned this one and I'm going to I'll send you a text. We'll figure out.
Well, it's been a while, right? It's been a couple
has been a
months
while.
because you're busy. But I finally got you on. What do you got planned for 2025? I know did you go and set a bunch of goals? Like, I'm going to do this in this many days. I'm going to make this much money in this many doors. And
yeah, I have made a goal I think my biggest things are to launch real estate, just getting that out there. Helping a bunch of newbies get their first deal and making them money so they can earn while they learn. I'm going to do this little free thing that's like using Privy or something like that. Very much an elephant challenge light, where it's like, here, use this software, use the MLS and see, what are the things? Look in states that are investor friendly, that are tax friendly, high days on market, stuff like that to find motivated sellers. And then they can submit them to me and I can coach them around it and close their leads. And then, what else? I can't even remember. There's so many things. I think those are the two biggest things. Yeah. The fund. And, we'll probably end up doing masterminds or retreats towards the end of.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So we shall see.
Do you see yourself traveling much with Sub 2 or the Gator community or any of those sorts of events?
I would love to.
Squad Up.
I'm going to Squad Up. Are you going to be there?
I will.
Yes, I'll be there. So yeah, all those things. I love the community. I think it's really gotten me out of my shell. Before I was very much an introvert.
I'm a homebody. Like, I can have great conversations on a podcast like this.
Yes.
But when I go places, like once I get to an event, I really have to get hyped up. Like, okay, I can do this. Let's go. And then once I get in, I'm like, I'm good. But then other times I'm like, I want to leave early. Like, I want to dip out, like just kind of back out slowly. And then people are like, where'd Benson go?
Yeah.
And I'm just gone.
You're like a fake. Are you a fake extrovert like me? Everyone's like, oh, I'm like, I just want to be alone for a minute after all that peopling.
I'm not, fake intentionally. Like, I'm not trying to put on a face. It's just that, like, when people see me, they're like, there's no way you're an introvert. I'm
exactly.
Like, well, get to know me a little bit better. And you'll know that if we were to hang out, it's like, we're not going to like a bar, we're going to go to a movie or we're going to go to dinner or we're going to watch a movie or something.
Yes. And it's not going to be 12 hours of talking, you have to, I'm very much the same.
Yeah. It's a talent.
Rest. It is. It really is. You have to be I at least have to be by myself and like recharge my people batteries.
Yeah. So, yeah. I like that term, my people batteries.
They can drain quickly, but I love it until they're drained.
Yeah.
I don't know how Pace does it.
He's a different kind of cat. Dude. He just is. Yeah. Let's talk about that for a while. Like, so you transitioned full-time into real estate in 2021.
I did. Right? Yeah.
And so then there's a whole set of challenges that comes with that, but you're still spending a good amount of time with the community.
I am.
How are you balancing all that?
I'm very, very, very lucky in that I'm very lucky that my personal business also very much coincides with working with Pace. And I will always tell Pace, I'm like, if you ever need me to take a hike, I will. But I adore him. I adore the community. And I've just been lucky enough I think what sets me apart from others is I was a student first, and I'm friends with the students and I know the people. So I have I am a Gator and I am Sub 2 and I am doing it. So I bring that knowledge also to New Reach. So I'm very honored that they have me, and it's not as hard as it may sound because a lot of it overlaps. So I owe Pace everything for taking a chance on me. So yeah.
So if you were, for example, selling cars, that would be a difficult thing to mesh with New Reach and Sub 2.
That would definitely be hard.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Yes. So they go very much hand in hand. which is nice.
So what is the biggest challenge then? I mean, we know that it
Time.
works well.
It's, for me, it's time, and I'm very much working on time blocking and setting boundaries, because before I'm like, I want to be a go-giver. I want to help everyone. I really genuinely do. But then they can drain you. Like, just like we were talking, like they're like, help me. And that's fine. But then they like ghost, and you're like, I just spent 45 minutes with you on a Zoom, and what's going on with this? And then, I think the biggest challenge is spending time wisely and having good boundaries. So that's why I created office hours. I'm like, listen, I want to help you, but you have to have it's not about money. I'm like, you need to have like a little bit skin in the game too, where you're going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it really is a natural filter. It's like $5 a meeting. It's like buy me a cup of coffee type thing, $20 a month. And I'm like, I will help you. You have full access to me, but just, I need a little bit from you. It's human psychology. So I think that was my biggest. I have 2 little kids that I'm like, I would love to not work and just spend time with them. But I also really, really enjoy working. It's something that feeds me. So I think time is the biggest thing, and learning how to time block is the biggest challenge, and making sure everyone gets taken care of. My job, I show up for and do what I need to do, as well as my business and my family.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have somebody who manages you?
No.
I
need
mean,
somebody to. I was just, Rinda, I was just talking to Rinda. I'm like, I need an operator in my business and in my life, like, or something along those. I do. That's what I need.
It's
because
when you have it, you wish you didn't have it. But when you don't have it, you wish that there was somebody there kind of like just pressing you a little bit.
Yes.
Like, hey, this thing
one?
I asked you about last, what's going on with it?
Yeah.
And, and then the task management and deadlines, and it's uncomfortable, but when you realize that it's just things just have to get done.
Yeah.
And it's super helpful. I've noticed that too. Like the things that have deadlines, I'll wait to the last second and then I'll get it done. Right? I'm like, all
It'll
right,
get
it's
done.
finished. And it's done well.
Yeah.
Like I operate well
It
under
is.
pressure.
Yeah.
But in that other time, I'm working on like, passion projects or things that like don't need to get done right away. But I'm like, I feel like it's super important at that point in time. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm going to figure out how to do this thing in GHL and like work out like this automation that
Oh my God,
is
that's
fun.
my issue. That's
And
my
then
issue too.
the whole day's gone.
Yes. It's so true. I hired someone to build out my Go High level and to do the automations. I'm like, I could do this. I could sit on Chat GPT and ask them how to do it and give me ideas and do the whole thing. And I'm like that. So I'm starting to hire. That's where I am, like the teenager part of my business, where like I hired somebody to build out my GHL, and I need to hire I have a whole wholesale team. I need someone to run it, and like so I'm not the bottleneck. So buy back your time really, that book really struck a chord with me. So I'm slowly doing that.
Have you thought about getting a VA?
I need one. I am at the point where I'm like, that is on my to-do list. I need a VA. Yes.
I would do it immediately.
I need one.
I have
there's
now.
So many things that I need to do, like upload
so
this,
helpful.
Schedule my podcast. Probably why you haven't been scheduled yet, because I haven't done it yet and I don't have help to do it. So
yeah,
I need one.
Well, I can help you there if you need help.
Do you have VA stuff?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I don't do VA stuff. I went through a service.
Yeah.
And it's been like the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's holding me back on that is the time it takes to train. Because I've trained VAs before and I've had, when you take so much time to train someone and they end up not quitting, and it's just like, oh my God. And of course, that's when you have to do SOPs, and that's not my zone of genius at all, is SOPs.
So the service that I used, they actually train them for you. They create your SOPs, but they sit with you and they just say, okay, what do you want them to do? And you just go through all the things you want them to do. They document every little thing, create the SOP, and then they train them, and then they guarantee them.
That's my thing. And I'm just like, I don't have the time to train them for it to fall through. Oh yeah. We need to talk.
We'll talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a blessing.
That's what I need right now is I'm on
Yeah.
that. I definitely need a VA. At first I was like, I don't have enough stuff. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I have enough stuff.
Yeah.
To keep them
So
busy.
I read a story about it. When you started,
Mm-hmm.
you were just looking to get mailbox money,
I was.
right? And you just wanted a check to show up, right? And
Yeah.
some evidence that what you were doing was working.
Yep.
And now you're getting into multifamily, like big dollar stuff, fundraising, which is like complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
It
How the
really
heck did
is.
you make that transition from mailbox money to now launching a fund where you're going to be
Oh
talking
my
to like
God.
millionaires, right? Multimillionaires and asking
Yeah.
them for money?
Yeah. I have always been the person where I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, most jobs will tell you what to do. Show up at this time, like any job that I had where I didn't have autonomy, where I was like, like I'm just not a good widget person where you just like, anyways. So I think that's just my personality. And then I got into it for them, but then it's something I genuinely love. And when you get into something and you're passionate about it, and I'm like, hey, this is easy for single family. Why am I not doing this with multifamily? It's the exact same thing, but more doors, more money, more
Right.
doors, bigger challenge. So my toxic trait is I'm never satisfied. I always want a bigger challenge, a bigger mountain to climb. And I don't want anyone to tell me how to do it. So entrepreneurship works for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
So
I
what interested you about, starting a fund or Opal, like just in general and transition to multifamily and the fund raising and capital raising world like that? That's something that I'm also moving into.
I love it.
I didn't tell you. I launched a fund already.
Yay.
And we're starting off with a B. And then for the
Good.
first deal, the deal's under contract. It's in North Dakota, a
Nice.
42 unit townhome complex.
Nice.
And we're going to do a B on this one. But after that, we're moving to a C so we can start using institutional investors. It's a lot of work and it's a whole different
You
world.
started with a B.
Yeah.
How was that starting? See, this was my thought. My thought's like, I want to do a fund, but I'm going to attach myself to a fund to fund. So I'm a fund to fund right now. So I can learn. I'm all about baby steps and like learning from the people that have experience and watch along the way and kind of learn safely. But you just went into it. You did a fund for non-accredited for a B. That's a big step.
Well, it isn't just non-accredited. It can be accredited as well.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
But you can't advertise it, right? Only through your network.
Right.
So that's the biggest limiting thing is like, how big is your network? I mean, a ton of people, so a B will work for you.
And same with you. Yeah. I bet it worked well for you.
It's working well. We actually will close middle of February.
Nice.
But we've already got people who are like, what's going on? Like I've been, kind of telling people about it and, like we're wrapping up this last couple of filings.
Yeah.
And, it's cool. Like, I'm talking to people. I met this guy and he knows a bunch of professional athletes. He's like, these guys need places to put their money, and they just need advice. And so there's just so many people out there looking for places to put money.
Yeah.
But with that being said, the multifamily and the syndication space is pretty competitive. Do you guys have any sort of competitive edge you're going to build into your process that you think will be different and unique?
So my whole thing, the foundation of my business is building an empire and teaching people just kind of like let's take, for example, professional athletes. They just know they have money. They just don't really know what to do with it. And they need to be educated around it. So most funds are like, give us your money. Here's a little bit of information. We'll give you this much back in 5, 10, whatever years. So we are going to try to educate around it and be like, how involved do you want to be, Benson? Do you want to bring in this money? And do you want to go tour the asset? Do you want to, do you want to ask all the questions? So we are going to be really, especially for the B, education based. So And it will also help us. We're starting that now. So, you have to prove your connection and everything. And so we're going to start doing just like little multifamily things. We've already started just doing based on the little building and empire brand, just educating people around it, what to look for in funds and what are green flags and what are red flags. And we'll take our OM and be like, explain what an OM is and what you should look for and the different types of classes and all that stuff. So ours is going to be a little more education around it as much as they want to be. If they don't, they're just like, take my money. I don't care. We'll take their money too.
And you got a bucket for them, right?
We can do that too.
Yeah, we can do that. Just give us money. We'll send you the K1 when it's ready.
Exactly. It will get there.
Yeah. So how did you meet Christy and Carolyn?
So Carolyn, I knew we were both in Pace's mastermind, June of 2022. And then I met her and Myron there, but it was mostly just like kind of talking. Like we talked, we knew of each other. I saw her on Zooms. I didn't really know her that well. And then, later we just kind of were in the same sphere with Carolyn. And I think what happened? I meant to ask her the other day. I'm like, how did we just become so tight? I don't even remember. It's just like, we were all of a sudden like,
you're like, did we just become best friends?
I don't even remember because it's just all of a sudden we were there. I don't even remember how. We were just like best friends. And then I met Christy through Carolyn because we both joined Vina's Multi-Fi. And we went to that, and her and Carolyn were partners in that. They came in together. And so we just hung out the whole time in Scottsdale together. And she has the most experience in multifamily, Christy does. And she called me last summer. She's like, do you want to do a fund with me? And I'm like, me? Really? I don't have as much experience as multifamily as you. And she's like, well, you have a good network. And I'm like, I can bring that. I can do that.
Network.
So,
and talking to people and the business development side of things, like that's where you would really excel and bring value to the table.
Yep. So then she asked me, and then she asked Carolyn, and we were like, let's do it. So we did. Yeah.
The trifecta.
The trifecta. So we're unstoppable. We'll see what happens this year.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Do you worry about diluting your efforts with, wander wheels and
I know.
all the things that you're doing? Because I've heard, right? I have the same affliction that you do. Like I have shiny object syndrome.
I feel like we're very similar, Benson.
And I want to do it all, right?
I do too. Yeah.
They say that if you try to do everything, you don't do anything well.
I agree. And that's why when people are like, when are you doing RV parks? And I'm like, not yet, not now. I can't take on it. So Opal Equity just wrapped up. So that one's done. That was a very fast raise. So that was like a sprint. Opal Equity is wrapped up. And so we're done for now with that raise.
With one project.
With one project. Yes.
What was it?
It's in Dallas, Texas, Addison. It's a B+, right outside of Dallas in the Beverly Hills of Dallas. And it borders like a country club. It's a lifestyle place. So
cool. What was the raise amount? If you don't mind, if you can't get into details.
Our part, we had to bring 500,000. So it was our first
because it was a fund of funds.
It was a fund to fund. Yeah. So that wasn't, it was total. I think it was at 19 million. So it was just, that's why I'm like, we just did I took a baby step in getting into multifamily.
No, it's great.
So
I should probably do the same.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You dove in head first. I love it. And it's proving to pay off though. It sounds like it's going well.
We'll know in 45 days.
That's exciting.
So, but it is exciting.
Yeah.
So you're not, okay. So back to the issue of, spreading yourself too thin. What is it showing itself already in your business and your efforts?
It had started to, but right now, like I've just hired 3 more people on my team. I have an operator who's coming in. And I'm fixing it. I have learned I am the bottleneck, and I do not want to be the bottleneck. I want to be the person that brings in leads I want to close the leads if they need me. And I want to be the personality and the vision. I want to bring in the stuff as the visionary, and then the team ties it in a nice little bow and does what it needs to do. So
a team of integrators, they just take.
Yes.
You realize you're the pace of the group, right?
What's that?
You're the pace of the group.
Of what group?
Of your group.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm very much like Pace.
Yeah.
And so I am an integrator in his world, but I shine. I am the Pace. Yeah. I very much, and I've learned so much from him, which I'm so grateful for. But yeah, it is starting to show. And so that's where I'm like, I decided this morning, I need a VA. I have hired 3 more people on my team. I have an operator. I hired someone to do all my systems and build out my Go High level. I'm just like, do this. They're also building out our Go High level for Opal Equity. I'm just business. I shouldn't say just. I'm business development for Opal Equity. So that overlaps with my other stuff, the business development.
Yeah.
So yes, it started to. Yes, I'm getting spread thin, and I'm realizing that, and I'm putting people in place right now to not do that. But I'm not taking on any more projects. Those big 3 ones are Opal Equity, and then my wholesale business, all of building an empire and Wonder Wheels. Mm-hmm. So that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I can handle this year. I can't do any more, or I shouldn't. I could, but I shouldn't.
Not to mention you have a family.
Exactly.
Which I don't have, so I don't have to deal with that mess. All my drawers are closed.
I know when they did. I don't know if they hear that at the beginning. I'm like, hold on, before we get started, my kids just had to put away their drawer clothes, and every single drawer behind me with like underwear pouring out. And I'm like, hold on. I got a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old.
But that's what you do it for, right?
Yeah, so it is what you do it for.
When I'm looking at, all the extra projects I take on and the financial risk, I'm like, what am I doing this for? Right. Like,
yeah,
but you have that, like, you have your family. That's part of your why, obviously.
Right.
Like, why do you do this?
Because I'm crazy. I love it. I don't know. I'm very much like my dad. And I was talking to my dad. He's like, I love a good challenge. I don't like being stagnant. And if something lights my fire and gets me excited, then I just go for it. And I do it. 1, I was just talking to Rand about this. 1, for my family. 2, my overarching goal, my ultimate goal is to get big farmland, or I don't know if farmland's the right word, a lot of land. And I was talking about how I want to do retreats and stuff. That is going to, my big overarching goal is, I've always had a heart for homeless animals, rescue animals. I think you have rescue dogs, don't you?
I do.
Yes, I remember that. I remember people that rescue dogs. They're my people. So I've worked a lot in volunteering for rescues, and I want a farm where everybody can go to heal. So like maybe farm animals, or horses, dogs, cats, everything. Then humans can go, and it's like, you eat nutritious food, you zen out, there's everybody's healing together, equine therapy, yoga, eating healthy, you're out in nature, just where humans and animals can come and heal together. And so that's my huge why. And I never told anybody
your Mount Everest, could you call it?
Or... That is my Mount Everest for sure.
Okay.
That is the goal. My working name is the pharmacy, because it's like a farm.
Ooh.
Pharmacy.
I love that.
Get it?
You got to go find that URL, see if you can buy it before.
I should buy that. Hold on. Don't publish this yet. Let me go to GoDaddy real quick.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. But that's my big goal. That's my big why and then within that is I want to show my girls what they can do, and that this is a huge legacy that I'm going to leave, and hopefully they'll take it over from there. I don't care if people remember my name or anything. I just want people to be felt, with like a farm, or like an animal that was rescued, and I don't know, somebody that came and they healed physically, emotionally, spiritually, however. So all the stuff. So
I
pharmacy is
love
my big
it.
goal. That's my big why.
I love it.
So,
So you're not motivated by money at all. Like you don't care how much money
oh,
you
I
make.
like money. I mean, so money, not so much. I feel like money is a tool. Brenda said this to me the other day. She's like, it's not that money's not a thing, but God has big plans for me. And money is just a tool in your tool belt. When you have that money, you can make big things happen.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and capital raise. I mean, you can, but it's a huge tool in your tool belt. So yes, money, it's not financial. Like I want $1 bajillion and I want a G6 and I want to hoard it all. I think money also opens up doors, and you can donate that money. I would love to be able to, like, you see those things on like those GoFundMe's with like those 6-year-olds with cancer. There's one in my daughter's school right now. And I'm like, I can't wait till I can be that anonymous donor that's like 50 grand. Here you go. Where that type of money, one where it's FU money, so nobody can control you with money. You can do whatever you want and you can use it for good. So I think it's a tool. It's not like I'm going to be like, I want to be struggling to pay bills type thing, but use it for good.
So. I thought you were going to mention, I love these videos that come in my TikTok.
Yeah.
Where it's like some guy and he walks up to like some kid and he's like, hey, do you want a laptop? Or you see some girl on a bike and says, hey, do you have a car? And she's like, no. And he's like, do you want one? And she's like, thinking he's going to try to abduct her or something. And he takes her behind and there's an actual car and he's just helping people with like these weird things.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would love to do that and just be like, I go to McDonald's every day because I have a Diet Coke addiction. And I'm like, I would love to be one of those people that like, here, Merry Christmas, and like hand everybody like $500, and just that kind of money. I that's why I want money. I can just be like Oprah and be like, have you get $1 million? You get $1 million. So it'd be like that guy.
That would be amazing. That's kind of like what Mr. Beast has done with his empire. It started off with like YouTube and building influence and making all this money, and now he just kind of gives it back.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of his. Like, I just don't know how someone would do it otherwise. Like, he's just made so much money by banking videos that he's like, yeah, I'm gonna give it back.
I know. What you get to a point where you have so much money that you're like, what else I can do with it?
Yeah, you have it all.
You have it all.
Buy a bigger house.
You want something, you can have it.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of fulfillment in helping others. And I don't have to be like on a YouTube doing it, but doing it for the notoriety, but also just surprise, helping people.
Yeah.
We're all just here to help each other. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So you don't need any motivation. Like you've got enough why built in with your family and pharmacy eventually.
Yes.
Maybe the next couple of years you'll be able to start that project.
I'm so excited. Yes.
And something like 2025 is pretty much planned out. You've got all the tasks that you're going to be doing. Is there anything outside of that, any passion projects or anything else that you would like to help people with or work on?
I'm trying to say no to things because I'm a yes person. I think my biggest passion projects are exactly anything that can get me closer to the big goal of pharmacy and helping people heal and animals heal. And really, a lot of people just say it because helping people equals money, but I really want to help people along the way. I've always been like, I grew up dyslexic, diagnosed dyslexic. I repeated the second grade. Like, I've never been that kid that's just like gifted, and they play soccer and they're the star soccer person and they do the spelling bee and they win this, those people that just are so gifted naturally. That's not me. I am the opposite of that person. And so I want to be able to help people, along the way, maybe that aren't, they do one thing and they're, find their way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have some people who are excited to like do some stuff with Carly.
Yes. I want to do
Where
some
can they
stuff with
find you? Like,
Benson.
are you on social media? Like,
I
do you have
am.
where can they go and find you?
Carly.Grundmann on Instagram. There is another Carly Grundmann that took the one without the dot. She was the only one until I got married. So Carly.Grundmann on Instagram. Don't reach out to the brunette. That's not me. And buildinganempire.io is where we're still building out that site. It needs a little more. It's in the infancy, but
It needs more you on the site.
Does it? Give me
Yes.
all the feedback. Really? That's so
It
gross
does.
to me. It needs more me.
Yeah, or at least
Good to know.
on the first fold, like above the fold.
You're right.
You should
You
be
think
there.
it does?
Yeah. It does, because it's you, right?
It is me. You're right. I would love to be, this is me. It's good. I'd rather be behind the scenes than not have my picture anywhere. But it's what I got to do.
You have that ability
Yeah.
with your current role at New
True.
Reach, right? Like you don't need to even launch this new business, but there's a reason you want to.
Yeah.
And you're going to be the personality and the enthusiasm behind the project. And so I think it'll work better if you are more front and center.
Well, I love feedback like that. So if you ever see anything, you're like, Carly, you need to do this. You let me know. Give it to me. Anybody listening, be like, get over yourself. Put yourself above the fold. So
above the fold. Yeah. It should be like a saying, right? Like put yourself above the fold. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people, it's a marketing thing, but a lot of people don't know it. I think it should be a thing. We should make it a thing.
I don't need another project.
That's true.
We'll just say it from time to time. Eventually maybe it'll catch on.
We'll know what each other's talking about.
Yeah.
Are you on the Privy site?
I am.
You are
on the team.
Yeah.
It's
on Are you above the fold on Privy?
No, because Privy is not meant to be personality driven.
Yeah, true.
And that's something that we made a decision on a few years back, that we were going to try to neutralize it from personality and make it more enterprise level.
Smart.
So that was a conscious decision of ours.
It's a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. So,
well, Carly, this has been fun. I could talk to you for hours.
I could talk to you for hours, and I can't wait to interview you on my podcast.
I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yes, it will be. I'll send you a link, and send me your information on your VAs. I would love to know.
I will. We'll connect offline. But again, thank you so much for sharing so many cool things about what you're working on. I'm so excited for you, and you're proud. I can say I'm proud of you, like you're my daughter or something. But as a friend, like of all the stuff that you've accomplished and moving on to this really big project with Opal and pharmacy, is that excites me. I've been thinking about homesteading and buying land as well.
Have you?
Yeah, I've looked at some land here in Colorado.
Yes.
And it's something I think I will eventually do.
Isn't that just being in nature?
Off-grid living scenario.
Off the grid, just with animals and nature. It just is my dream.
So. Yeah, I've got a podcast guest for you. Someone to talk to.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Introduce me.
Jamie Friesen.
Okay.
He's a Canadian fella who started an off-grid living sort of like coaching thing.
Yes.
He's got like 8,000 students. He teaches people all over the world on how to basically begin a homestead property.
I just followed him on TikTok. Doesn't he have like, I think he just came up on my TikTok, and I followed him on Instagram because there's these FDA loans that you can be to be a farmer, right? Is that him?
I don't know if he might talk about that, but
I wonder if
he was on my podcast some time back, and he's got really cool, like his course is so inexpensive. Yes. And I've been talking to people that are like, oh, I have it, and you should check him out.
Okay, send me his. I want to. Yes, and I want to hear your podcast with him too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back and listen to it. Yes, please. This was fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Thank
And
you.
everybody who's listening, connect with Carly. You can just tell she's an amazing person. And if you're having, trouble getting going, or you want to build an empire, or you want to invest in one of her upcoming projects, reach out. Just look for her on Instagram, Carly.Grundmann, not the brunette.
Not the brunette.
And
Correct.
reach out to her at her website, which is
buildinganempire.io.
buildinganempire.io.
Yes.
But you guys, thank you so much for listening. Check out more really engaging and exciting podcasts with awesome people like Carly in the future. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's Real Estate Revelations. Thank you for tuning into the REI Hacker Podcast. Remember, every property has a story, and every deal is a lesson. Until next time, keep hacking the real estate world.